Thank you, Chairwoman Capito and Ranking Member Whitehouse. I'm proud to have worked on the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, something that we have talked about in our country for a very long time. And as you've heard from others, I too am deeply concerned about the Trump administration's freezing of federal funding and mass firings and the real life impact that will have on these critical projects for our communities, states, and across the country. In my state of Delaware, I even did a bridge tour. Literally, while we were streaming live, I took folks from DelDOT. The engineers, took me to different bridges. We looked under the bridge. One was 80 years old. And really just to show people what the real life impact is on their everyday life. So for me, we can't afford to go backwards. Programs like the Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity Grant Program, also known as the RAISE program, or the Reconnecting Communities program, which I helped co-author, will help communities be safer, have more accessibility, and ensure that we have a strong economy. And so my first question is for you, Mr. McMurray. In January of this year, my state was awarded $13 million in RAISE grant funding that will go towards modernizing a 58-year-old bridge on State Route 9. It will make it safer. And then we were also awarded $12 million to help save lives, to make our roads and our streets more safe for our cyclists and pedestrians. Following up on Senator Merkley's question, with your experience as Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Transportation, what are the effects of this uncertainty that we're seeing with funding freezes and higher firings of federal employees as we're trying to accomplish these projects?
Thank you, and you have a great DOT at DelDOT, by the way.
We sure do.
Listen, AASHTO totally supports that we need to move forward with everything. If there's a grant agreement in place, that we do. AASHTO believes that is a contract. Same in Georgia. If we have a grant agreement in place, we're counting on moving forward. And I hate to use this analogy, but I believe we can fly the airplane while we're still building it and working on it or tweaking it. So let's keep things moving. It's just that important to our nation's economy. Not to pause. And I use this example as, we as DOTs have been playing by the rules. The rules may be changing, but let's keep playing the game, another bad analogy. But we need to move those forward. I've got a rural bridge that we received a grant from, a rural grant to grade separate over a railroad. The train blocks the town. Yeah. And so we're over a year from the grant award, and we still don't have a grant executed while we're designing and buying the property. But that's important because we're counting on that grant to get this community so they're not cut off when the train blocks the town.
Right. Yeah, one of the bridges I was on connects to the Dover Air Force Base. I mean, these are really vital. Can you talk also about the impact on employment of these freezes and the funding freezes? How does that affect employment?
I personally can't speak, or on behalf of AASHTO, speak of what that may or may not mean. I haven't seen that play out just yet, so a little early for us to tell in Georgia what that impact may or may not be.
I can tell you as former Secretary of Labor, it means that you stop with putting shovels on the ground. That means people aren't working. That also is the connections to our economy. I'm going to shift to you, Mr. Carroll. The Reconnecting Communities Grant Program through DOT focuses on righting communities harmed by past transportation decisions and also about eliminating barriers to mobility and economic development. Some of these policies started in the 1950s. I had the opportunity to ride with Representative Dwight Evans on Amtrak from Delaware to Philadelphia to meet with residents and community members who have been trying to tackle this. And can you talk about, from your experience, some of the benefits of these projects on communities and what impacts the freezes would have? Real life terms.
Well, in my testimony, I talked about our Chinatown Stitch project, which is right in the middle of our center city. And that project, I think, it's going to repair a community that was literally split in half by the Vine Street Expressway. And, from a regional transportation perspective, that expressway is essential to making the city work, making, the 9 counties, both in New Jersey and Pennsylvania accessible to each other. So it definitely something that needed to happen, but the way it happened really created a lot of harm in that community. And we have a chance not just to fix that because, we want to be good, but because we can really start to generate a lot of energy, a lot of economic activity. We see people are really getting interested in investing in that community. And so this is a chance to get the benefit that we're here to do, to make America strong, to make our community strong, to get people to work and make things, that stand up the test of time.
Thank you so much, and I yield back.